All right. So, as I said, I'm Mr. Moody. I'm the athletic director here at Yorktown Middle School. I'm glad that you could all be here today. I want to let you know that I'm recording it. Like I said before, this is going to be on YouTube afterwards for people that missed it, or for anybody that just wants to go and rewatch it later. You sure can. The link will be posted tomorrow, and there you go. So, I'm going to begin with concussion protocol. So, as many of you are aware, we are constantly learning about the causes and effects surrounding concussions. It is ever changing, and athletics all over are constantly adapting with the new information we receive. With that said, we are not impact testing like we have done in the past. Many area doctors are not using the test results, and it seemed like the test had too much variance anyways. Kids were getting concussions, they were going to doctors, and they just weren't even using our test results. So there's no point in doing the test if area doctors aren't using it. So we just kind of dropped it. What we're going to do instead is we have a new corporation nurse. Her name is Brooke Wagner. She has done a lot of athletic training. So she's well versed in the area. But she is going to be kind of my point person for really any injuries, but especially concussions. So if any athlete exhibits concussion-like symptoms, they will be removed from the contest. The coaches will contact me, and I'll contact Brooke Wagner. So I'm not going to let any student athletes back into any type of practice or game until they are cleared by Brooke to play. So if they show concussion-like symptoms, they should be out until they are cleared. We don't really mess around with that stuff here. It's pretty dangerous. So that's kind of how we handle things. Obviously, your personal doctor, family doctor, is also a medical professional. So if they go get checked out by the doctor and get clearance, that is also good enough. But that's kind of how we handle it. So next, we're going to talk about grades. At Yorktown, we expect our athletes to be students first. I will personally do grade checks on all athletes at each quarter and midterm. And if any athlete has 2 F grades, they are immediately ineligible for athletics. This means that they are not allowed to participate in any contests and may not travel with the team, but they are allowed to practice. So we want them to be with the team to give them some motivation, but we are not going to let them travel, and we're not going to let them play in any games. So, and then I will recheck the grades in 2 weeks to determine if the athletes can remain or can regain eligibility. To maintain the integrity of the grade checks, I do not allow kids to immediately fix their grade if they are ineligible at the quarter or the midterm. Sometimes what we have is kids find out they are ineligible, and then they will turn in 17 assignments to their science teacher and expect them all to be graded. And that is just not reasonable. I'm not going to put that on my teachers, and it's not the way we want the kids to do it anyways. They need to know what their grades are. They need to keep up on their grades. Those are conversations that they need to have with their teacher constantly if they need to. Power School is readily available, so they should always know what their grade is. And we want them to make sure that they're monitoring that and that situation never happens. So if they become ineligible, they are ineligible for 2 weeks, regardless of what assignments they turn in the next day. I don't recheck until the 2-week mark afterwards, and then I determine eligibility. And that's kind of a non-negotiable thing. So, and like I said, that's all just to encourage them to advocate for themselves and make sure that they are checking up on their schoolwork, which is important. Playing time. When it comes to playing time, I defer to my coaches. In the middle school, we are certainly still in a developmental level, but we are also setting out to win contests. The coaches are in charge of playing time and have my full support. If there are any questions about playing time, we would like the athletes to advocate for themselves. So if there is a question about playing time, that is fine, but we want the athlete to go talk to the coach. There should not be a single athlete on any team that feels uncomfortable talking to their coach about playing time. Those are never questions that a coach would take as an insult. It's never like that. So they should go talk about those things with the coaches, and we encourage that. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have questions or whatever that you can't contact any of the coaches or myself. But like I said, we're trying to get the kids to advocate for themselves, have these conversations, begin to grow and be more like adults. And this is one of the ways that they can definitely do it. And if they have those questions, they will certainly get answers that they need to hear from the coaches, which may be, these are the things that you need to work on, or just the answer that they need to hear. So conduct. We stress to our athletes that when they put on their uniforms, they are representing Yorktown. They should take pride in that and be exemplary competitors, as well as show great sportsmanship. The hope is that our adults can help to model this behavior. So please remember that our kids are always trying their best. The goal of the fans should always be to cheer on all kids who are competing. In this same vein, please remember that all officials are community members who are deeply invested in the growth of your children. We do not pay them, or we do pay them, but it isn't a ridiculous amount, and they are officiating because they love the game, and they should be treated with respect. So basically, we should be models to the kids. We should never boo other people. Not that anybody would ever do that, but you're a role model. You should make sure the kids are modeling the behaviors that you show as a fan. And we've all seen people get on officials that just really shouldn't ever happen. Those people are spending their time to go out and make these games happen. And we should treat them with respect for sure. COVID changes. So obviously we have some changes this year due to the circumstances. First, we have guidelines in place from the DOE that are expected to be followed. Things such as masks and sanitizer rules are there to protect the athletes and coaches and must be followed. Your athletic department and coaches have many new procedures in place as well that they may not even be aware of, and we need your help to encourage and model these guidelines. The one thing I do want to note is that these DOE, the guidelines and stuff that we are putting in place, the hand sanitizer and the mask rules, those are not things that Paul Heidenreich or myself came up with. They are guidelines that we were given by the DOE for reopening. They are expected to be followed, and it's not really a negotiable thing. So when athletes are on the benches at games, they're wearing masks. That's a guideline sent from the DOE. That's not something that I get to decide. They have hand sanitizer before and after. We sanitize equipment. Those are things that we have to do. So it's not something we came up with. It's just how things are now. And honestly, following a lot of these practices might be the difference between, our team having to quarantine for 2 weeks or finishing the season out without any issues. Not that other teams that you know of have not followed these rules, but every little thing matters. The tracing that we do, all the little steps that we take are really, really important, especially at this time. So be sure that your athlete always has water at events and practices. We cannot provide these as we have been able to in the past to keep from cross-contaminating between our athletes. So your athlete needs to have their own water bottle, and they can have it filled at school. We have filling stations, but they got to bring that water bottle because we can't provide anything like that for them. Just can't happen. We will have many procedures in place for tracing purposes this year as well, such as bus seating charts and different group practice guidelines. Many of you won't see those, but please continue to encourage your athlete to adhere to these guidelines. So we're doing bus seating charts. We are kind of trying to separate groups as much as we can, doing all the tracing stuff that I'm sure you've heard a lot about. So just encourage that stuff at home. Make sure your athlete really knows that that's important. Fan attendance is an interesting one this year. So at this moment, we are limited to 250 people at our events, players and officials included. So I am counting up all of the people that are essential at the event and including that in the number, and then I'm figuring out how to fill the rest with fans. This means that for some sports, we will have limited attendance. For those with limited attendance, I will determine the necessary personnel before the contest and provide attendance vouchers for the remainder. So if we have 100 athletes and personnel, I will send out 150 vouchers. What that means is that I'm counting up teams, I'm counting up players, I'm counting up, officials and all the necessary personnel, and then the rest are all we have. I'll be handing these vouchers out to the visiting teams and sending them to them so they can pass them out to their people, and the coaches will also be passing them out to all of you. Once those vouchers are out, nobody else gets in. And you are not able to get into some of these events without a voucher. This doesn't include cross country and soccer, but it does include volleyball and especially football. especially with all 3 grades. We're going to have to do vouchers, and that's just kind of how it is. The vouchers will be given to players before the contest, like I said, and nobody will be allowed entrance unless they have a voucher. Each voucher is good for 1 admittance, and each person will still need to pay for the ticket at the gate. We are including everybody in the vouchers as well. So if mom shows up with dad and 1-year-old infant, 1-year-old infant has to have a voucher, and they have to pay for the ticket because we have to have our vouchers match up to our ticket money. It's nuts. It's crazy, but that's just the way that we have to do it. And that's kind of what we're going with. So we want our ticket voucher money has to match the ticket vouchers. So that's just how we have to do it. When you go in, and we'll talk about seating a little later, actually. But the vouchers are just the way it is. Our first priority for these vouchers will be to provide at least 1 voucher for each player to bring a parent. We know this isn't ideal, but we want to make sure that each player has at least 1 person in attendance for them. We will also send these vouchers to opposing teams with the same intent to provide 1 person for each person. We will not be selling all sports passes this year, obviously. Concessions are kind of a fluid situation. We're still figuring that out, but we're kind of working towards that. We figure we will have concessions, but everything will have to be prepackaged. Also with construction, it's kind of weird, but we'll figure it out. Seating for all home contests we are going to encourage social distancing as directed by our state officials. In the bleachers, we will have X's marked where people are to sit. There should be 1 person per X. So everybody should be sitting on an X. They're all 6 feet apart in the bleachers. We're marking all of them, and that's where you have to sit. You can't share an X with anybody else. That's just how it is. For outdoor events, please separate from each other with at least 6 feet of distance. Masks are also going to be required at all events, regardless of the venue. Our athletes are being directed to wear masks on benches and sidelines when they are not on the field of court. Please adhere to these guidelines. So it's kind of a lot there, but that's where we kind of stand right now. One thing that directly affects volleyball is for HHC this year, we will have 0 fans. Running the numbers, we have 16 teams. They're all going to be at the high school. When it comes down to the officials, the 16 teams, the coaches, the people that we need, scorers and stuff like that, we are almost at the 250 number just with the people that are taking part in the event. So we are not going to be able to have fans at that event. It's bizarre, but that's kind of how we have to do it unless we are able to get some type of waiver, but I don't anticipate that happening with an indoor event. So that's where we are with HHC. That's kind of what I have right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to the coaches. They're going to talk a little bit here about some of their things, and then we'll open it up for questions afterwards.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Paul. I'm the 8th grade coach.
I'm Coach Carly. I'm the 7th grade coach. I'm Coach Miller. I'm the 6th grade.
So we love Yorktown volleyball. All 3 of us played for Yorktown and now coach for Yorktown. Those 2 are state champions. I am a state runner-up, unfortunately. So they're 2 times straight state championships. So, right? Yeah, they're awesome. We really love the girls. We love coaching. We love volleyball. And as always, we're very excited about it. Obviously, with COVID, there's a lot of craziness going around, but we're really trying to make the most of it and make sure the girls have a good season. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about our number 1 thing that we care about is that these girls are good teammates to each other, that they show up, that they're, listening to their coaches, being coachable, and working really hard. Those are the things that really matter to us. But I think being a good teammate is the most important. I also agree about the grades. Like Mr. Moody said, we really want the girls to be working hard in the classroom and in the gym. The second most important thing for us is communication. We are big on that on the court. We want them communicating. And then off the court, we want them to communicate with us. If there is an issue or a problem, we want the girls to come to us. Playing time, anything. That's what we want. And so Mr. Moody addressed that, and I think we all agree. We are open to anything that the girls want to talk about, and we really encourage it to be them. I will say, if any parent tries to talk to the three of us about playing time, we will not address that with parents. We address that with the girls. It's just parents aren't in the gym, and so you guys just don't really know what's going on. But if there are any other concerns, we are obviously open to some of those conversations. But really, truly, we want the girls to come and talk to us, and we do hope that they feel like they can. We are human beings. We make mistakes too. And so sometimes you might tell us something, we'd be like, yeah, okay, I see that. So, but it's all about the relationships that we are building. And I think the three of us take that very seriously. So, we will also ask that, so I haven't given the girls my phone number yet. That's my fault. I think the other two have.
I have.
Have you guys given your phone number to the girls?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're sick, or obviously with the COVID, communicate as soon as possible so that we can make sure Mr. Moody knows, and so that we're following all those protocols. But we would, again, ask that the girls would contact us and let us know what's going on. 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, it's time to work on some communication skills, and they can send a quick text. Trust me, I've seen them on their phones. They're very good. And then we also would like to have volunteers for matches to keep the book and run the scoreboard and keep the libero tracker sheet. So that's 3 adults for every game. We realize that may not happen. We don't know. You never know. And it might just end up being the girls, and we'll obviously teach them how to do it if it comes to that. But it's very helpful to have parent volunteers. Mr. Moody wants to say something.
I'm going to cut in, yeah. If you were to do those now, obviously HHC wouldn't count, but if you were to do the book and stuff like that, you would be personnel, so you would be accounted for, and you wouldn't be in need of a voucher. So if you want to go to all the games, that's a good way to get there.
Oh, I like that. I like that incentive. All right, I support that. Awesome. So if that's something that you would like to do, I will let you guys know how you can contact us. But I will give the girls my phone number. If you're uncomfortable with the girls texting just me, we will always have a group message, or they can message me with their parents in the text. That's fine. I mean, I know Coach Carly and Coach Miller are fine with that too. But we will also have the Remind app this year. We've done that for a couple years in a row. And it's split up by grades, the Remind app. And so what you'll need to do is download that app. Let's see, I think it's blue, and it has like a white bubble, like a brain type of bubble on it. And I'm going to give the code for the 8th graders and tell you how to become like on my group. I don't even know what it's called. Be in my group for the volleyball thing. And then Coach Carly will share the 7th grade code, and Coach Miller will share the 6th grade code. So make sure you can write that down. And then we'll make sure that the girls have it too, and they can bring it home if you guys don't get it right now. So for the 8th grade group, I'll just tell you, you will want to text 81010. And then the code, that's the text that you'll be sending it to. The message will be the @ with the number 8, THYV. And that should sign you up for being in that group in the Remind app. If you have any problems, like, just tell your daughters, and maybe there's another way to do it, and I might be able to send out a link or something like that. But I think it's worked fine in the past like this.
You can also type it into the chat here if you go down.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Look at me not knowing how to do technology. Okay. Okay, Coach Carly, you want to share yours?
Yeah, I'll also put mine in the chat. Mine for the 7th grade is Yorktown 7V, and it's all lowercase. So I'll say it again. It's Yorktown 7V.
I'll share mine. 6th grade. Yours is YVB6, all lowercase. YVB6.
Okay, so I put mine in the chat.
Why do you do that? I know.
I think I can share this link too. There's like a link as well. Put that in. There. So that's for the 8th grade. I've got that in the chat. And I think that's all we have. Once, if girls, if you guys want to put yours in there, Coach Carly and Coach Miller in the chat. And then I think we're done, at least our part.
Okay. If now we have some questions, if anybody has any, just unmute yourself and you can ask away.
Would you mind?
No questions? All right. Okay.
I
Well,
have a question.
Oh, yes.
Roster come out that Trishelle had tried out on Monday, and then she had to miss the rest of the week for COVID-related illness that wasn't COVID. And so we haven't got any feedback as to whether her one day of tryout was sufficient or not.
She hasn't been back to practice.
She hasn't. She just returned back to school today. She was just released to return to school today. She had to miss Tuesday through Friday. I didn't know like what your name was or who to contact. We're new to Yorktown this year. So she had to miss Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. She had to go in for COVID testing, and then she had to miss until she was 24 hours medicine free. So
Okay.
she just returned to school today. So
Okay.
she only attended practice on Monday.
I'll probably talk to, is she an 8th grader?
Yes.
Okay. I'll probably talk with Coach Paul after this, talk to
Yeah.
the situation. And can you give me her name one more time?
Yeah, it's Trishelle, Trishell Johnson.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Coach Paul after this through that situation, and then we'll get back with you for sure.
Okay. Do you guys want me to give you my phone number so somebody can just text me and let me know? And
I can look it up in
because right now,
PowerSchool.
okay, because we're kind of in the dark right now.
Yeah.
So-
I'm going to talk with her right after this, and we'll have an
Okay.
answer for you. I'll have an answer for you tonight. So.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Are there any other questions?
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
Will there be, or will you be able to like stream any of the games or like HHC, the ones that no fans can be at?
That's
know?
something that we're thinking about. Obviously, we actually just found out what we're doing with fans middle of last week. So we're kind of still in the early stages. That's obviously on the radar. That's something I've had a conversation with Paul at the high school. They are doing that for some of their things. I'm not sure that we have the capabilities to do that, especially with the construction. HHC is a definite possibility because that's actually at the high school. But with the middle school, I still have to kind of work out the logistics. I'm hoping that it's not going to be a super big issue. Most volleyball matches don't, they come close to the 250 mark. So obviously I'm going to provide enough vouchers for visiting fans to have one person. And then we're going to take the rest of them for our home meets, because what most other schools are doing is they are first come, first serve basis. And they're actually opening that up to their own fans first, which is a lot worse than kind of what we're doing. So short answer to a long one. Yeah, I think we can try to do that, but I don't know that we're going to have a lot of issues with our own personal fans at volleyball matches. I think most people that are going to want to go are going to be able to go. But just in case they can't, we have to have vouchers, and obviously I have to have them for the visiting teams. So
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
Mr. Moody, I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, so, you know, there's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, like, for example, in our gym. So once, say, the 6th grader parents would leave, then does that open it up for the next grade? I mean, so do you keep track of fans coming in and coming out so more fans can come in? Or is it no, just these are the vouchers and this is what it is for all 3 grades?
Yeah, we just have to run the vouchers. A big issue with what you're saying is that we can't sanitize areas in between people using them. So basically that X is your X for that night, which is supposed to be your area. And we sanitize that before and after matches. So we can't do the sanitizing. That's the one major issue. The other one is my ticket takers are going to be trained to only allow people in with vouchers. And then once they're in, you can't get back in unless you have a voucher. The ticket's not even going to count. So once you're in, you're in. And then you can't get back, you know, we can't go back and forth.
I just wasn't sure with, you know, having an 8th grader, if we needed to wait and just come, you know, towards the end, the 8th grade, so then other parents could get in. But I see what you're saying now. So that's just what I wanted to check on, if that helped, if, you know, we didn't child played until the 8th grade, if we just wait, so then obviously other parents could come in first. So that's just what I wanted to ask. So that makes
yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but it's just with the sanitizing issues, and it's kind of a manpower, it's kind of a little terrifying. Sorry, I saw the message. Small gym is now the front office, so everybody's going to be playing in the main gym. I should have mentioned that before. Yeah, we are starting all volleyball matches 6th, 7th, and 8th. If they play on the same day, 6th grade will play first, then 7th and 8th. Even if 6th grade has different opponents, which I don't know that happens this year because of the way they work. So they'll all play in the same gym, starting with 6th and obviously 7th and 8th. But no, back to your question about sanitizing. Yeah, it's just the way the vouchers have to go. We can't let people trade. We can't let people in, let people out and do the counters because first, my ticket takers aren't there all night, and they would have to be the ones to check all that, and just can't do it. And then obviously, it's just kind of it's a manpower nightmare. It'd have to have somebody at the door counting all the time, and then that's another person. And yeah.
I understand. I just if it was helpful for, you know, if you have an 8th grader not to come until it's time for 8th grade, because we'll all be in one gym. So that's just what I wondered, if to be helpful, but I understand that that's, you know, not how it's going to be done. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Another thing is if you know that you can't make it to an event and you received a voucher from your student, you can give those to other people. Giving vouchers to other people is totally okay, just in case anybody wondered about that. So, but yeah.
Thank you.
Questions? Oh, yeah, no problem. All right. If there are no other questions, I want to thank my former speech teacher for helping me through all these. She's actually in this chat right here for helping me through all of these. High school speech teacher in here. It's crazy. Yeah, there we go. Great job. Thank you. So, this will be up on YouTube afterwards. If anybody has any questions, obviously feel free to contact coaches, contact myself. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you all for coming, and see you later.